it's not colored, it looks just like this, it's not autoclaved. The steam didn't actually reach the center. So that's one of those super important things when you're making these packs. This needs to be kind of in the middle of your pack. A lot of people that haven't been trained, they make the mistake of putting it at like the very top because they think, oh, they want that to be the first thing that they see is the sterilized. Well, really, that's not, I mean, it could say that it's sterilized, and it's really not because it's not at the center of your pack. So you really want it to be the center of your pack. So again, there'll be, I don't know if someone wants to read your list of what you have to do for your packs. I think it was like the last one, or close to the last one.
I think on your packet stapled
Yeah.
it's first one.
First thing is the student gathered the appropriate instruments and instrument pan if applicable.
Okay, so I don't know, do you guys have to learn what the instruments are?
Yeah.
You have to learn what all the instruments are? Okay. So that's just pure memorization. Do you probably have the ability, you probably have pictures and stuff of those? Okay. So there are a whole bunch of different ways to do it. I don't know what you guys are going to be told to do. Every veterinary hospital has a different way. We're not super picky. I think the most important things are that you, this isn't done correctly, but that you go from tallest to smallest, and that your curves are always in front of your straights. So, and that's just so your instruments are not damaged. The other important thing is that, do you know, you want this clamped or do you want it open? You would think clamped because it seems tidier, but you actually want it open because if you clamp it, then the thought is that the steam can't really get to where it needs to sterilize. So, but you would think it should be clamped. So what I mean by just keeping things in order, or tallest to shortest, is, you know, just basic, this kind of thing. And you also want to keep kind of like your forceps together. Your forceps are the things that clamp, and then you want to keep your scissors together. So again, there's specific ways they'll probably have you do it. We're not super picky where I work for tallest to shortest. So you'll do your instruments. Most everybody I know takes a spay hook at the very end and then puts it through every single one of the handles. It just keeps it tidier that way. All right, so let's say you have it done the way you're supposed to have it done. Put it all in here. However you like it. I don't know if they're going to have you put in probably always gauze. We do about 50 gauze. And
What's the
then
next step?
Just gather the appropriate linen supplies if applicable. Everything is appropriate and if applicable.
okay. So they'll probably, I would think they'd give you a list
Yeah, it's
of
like-
things.
Appropriate.
Okay.
So these would be considered linens. These are sterile towels. And what you would do is with this, put in your sterile strip, kind of as best you can, anticipating the center. I'll probably put it in between these guys. And then there's also sometimes a separate drape. This one should have a separate drape in it. I don't know why it doesn't, which is why you have the initials, because then you can go back and look for whoever did it understands. And then we always put our towel clamps on the top because we need them first. And now this is a super important part about wrapping. So you always have to wrap in 2 layers, depending on how porous your wrapping material is. I think standard is 2 really across the board. So this is really nice and straight when it's not autoclaved. What's the next thing? Sorry.
Student selected the appropriate packaging material and chemical indicator. The student assembled the pack correctly by following the instructions on the checklist or recipe. The student appropriately selected and placed the chemical indicator, and the student appropriately selected and utilized packaging material.
Okay. All right. So the indicator should be approximately at the center of the package, and if I would verbalize that, obviously, because everyone has a different idea of where it needs to be placed, but it must be in the center. And then you're gonna do 2, and you're gonna do it this way. And the goal is to always do it as tight as possible, and then always have a tab towards the outside, so that the theory is that someone that's not sterile could come in here and pull the tab, and this would all still be sterile. So just remember that however you can do it, doesn't matter if it's 3 or 4 or 5 little accordion styles, but the tab should always be facing you to just pull towards you, okay? The other thing is I don't know if you get extra bonus points, but the way that our technicians figure out how big to make the drapes is how big is our surgery table. So that our surgery table is there's never an area that's not sterile. All right, so, and this is kind of cheating for me because it's already kind of placed. All right, so that, and then you just take on this side. There's no fancy way, it's just really so that you have a tab to easily pull and that it's as tight as possible. So you can see I'll have a little tab like that. Though it's messy, there's a tab. And then you take this and you make a little envelope like this with the tab, just like that. And then you take your strips, and we do 2 strips. I don't know how many. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Basically, you take your strips. Some people do it all the way around because this stuff has a tendency to break. And then there, you're done. And it just needs to go in the autoclave. You try to do it as tight as possible. And so that's it. So there's 2 sterile indicators, the tape that's easy to see, and then on the inside. And that's it.
All right.
But you usually don't forget one of your instruments. So, oh no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Sorry, you have to do 2. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to do 2. So, does somebody want to do it? The correct
Yes.
way? So you do it exactly the same. You can do 2 together and do it that way, or you can just do 2 separate, however you want to do it. It just has to be 2 layers to make it sterile.
Okay.